for questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all the witnesses for being here with us today. And I want to thank Chairman Lott also for holding this hearing and for working with my office to advance the Secure Grid Act. Our nation runs on electricity. Our economy, our standard of living, and sometimes our lives depend on a reliable electric grid. But our electric grid faces growing threats from cyber and physical attacks and from severe weather and wildfire, exacerbated by climate change. The Secure Grid Act would reauthorize a section of the bipartisan infrastructure law that requires states to develop state energy security plans to identify, assess, and mitigate risks to the electric grid and make contingency plans for grid emergencies. States can use the state energy program funding to develop, revise, and implement these plans. It's crucial for the federal government to continue to support states in preparing for and hardening their electric grid against all cyber and physical threats. However, this section of the law lapsed in October 2025, so I'm glad to work with Chairman Lott to reauthorize the state energy security plans and continue to support states' efforts to maintain the security and reliability of the electric grid. Ms. O'Neill, PNNL helps states in developing their state energy security plan. Do you think this program has been effective in helping states to improve their risk awareness and readiness to respond to emergencies?
Yes, Representative, I do think it has been effective. We see that in the way that the states are using the plans and the fact that by a certain time of after 2 rounds of review and 2 years of effort, that they all have completed plans. They did not start 2 years earlier with those plans being at that level of rigor. And after this review and this effort and the federal investment, they all have 56 plans are on the
So
books now.
you really do think it'd be helpful to extend this program and to require states to maintain and regularly update their energy security plans?
So the states, as I mentioned, it took a lot of work to do this plan. And so the regularity, is a good question. Most states commit in their plans to revisiting them within 5 years because of this rate of change of energy information, among other things. And there also are anticipated, through the plans, they've determined what trends that are of greatest concern to them, right? And so they do want to look again and make sure that they're tracking correctly. Or there might be other reasons why they need a more current plan in order to make a decision.
Absolutely.
So there's a lot of need for regularly revisiting the plans.
Thank you. Ms. Lotto, much of my district is served by public power, the Sacramento Municipal Utility District, or as we call it, SMUD. From your perspective, what value do state energy security plans provide for public power utilities?
They provide a tremendous amount of value. So the system is a system of systems, right? From generation to transmission to distribution. And so ensuring that the full community, all of the utilities that serve that area, including SMUD, have a seat at that table when state energy security plans are being drafted is critically important.
Absolutely. States have a particularly important role to play in protecting local distribution systems which are not regulated by the federal government. Ms. O'Neill, how do cyber threats to local distribution systems differ from threats to the bulk power system? And what threat do cyber attacks on local distribution systems pose to the bulk power systems?
Thank you for the question, Representative. Well, the transmission infrastructure is really very different in a lot of ways. Yes, it conveys power, but of course the bulk power system is a network that is managed very closely and has very tight oversight. Distribution systems, I think this was described earlier by the Undersecretary, might have fewer points of oversight in them and obviously carry aren't the backbone of the nation's electrical grid. However, that doesn't mean that they aren't an important piece of the puzzle, as you point out, for cybersecurity, and so that's why we're revisiting some of the legislation today. One of the things that we're aware of is that distribution systems also represent a really diverse, you would say, attack space.
Right.
So there's a lot about distribution systems that vary, where transmission systems might be a little bit more homogeneous, and so that's why you have models like RMUC and others.
Thank you very much. I have a quick question here for Mr. Aronson about after disasters. Mr. Aronson, how can utilities ensure they have enough spare equipment to rebuild after disasters?
So the industry, as I mentioned earlier with respect to physical threats, does have a robust spare equipment sharing program. Many companies who operate in high-risk areas, whether it's wildfires or hurricanes or ice storms, will maintain storm stock with the anticipation that they're going to have to rebuild their system under duress. And so there is an extraordinary amount of planning that goes into that kind of emergency response.
Well, thank you very much, and I ran out of time, so I yield back.
Thank you.